Hi there, it's Karen at Simply Living for Him. It is February 2nd, 2021. I'm here to do my daily encouragement video for you. I am dressed appropriately for the weather. I woke up this morning we must have about 30 inches of snow. I measured last night, there was 25, but it has not stopped snowing since then, and we have more on the ground. And I can honestly say I've literally never seen this much snow in my entire life. It's crazy, and I'm going to tie that into our devotional today because sometimes, you get very inward focused on what's going on in your life and what's going on in the world, and everything kind of feels really big. But when we stop and change our perspective and realize how big God is in all of that, it can really change our views. And so many times in the past, I've been guilty of doing this with my children. I'm like, every grain of sand, every blade of grass, God created it all. And I get into these big tangents. And what I mean by that is I will, when I really stop and think about how big God is. So every grain of sand, picture when you've gone to the beach, sand gets everywhere. It gets in your bag, it gets in your toys, it gets all over your car, right? And it gets into everything. And the amount of sand that we bring home alone in our car after a beach trip is a lot. Now, let's think about all the sand that covers the beach where you are. Then think about all the sand that covers all the beaches down the whole coastline of the United States. Oh wait, there's sand under the ocean? Now we know how big the oceans are. Oh wait, there's sand on lakes, at riverbanks, all over the country, all over the world. Oh wait, think of the Sahara Desert. Okay, now we're talking about a lot of sand. I remember a friend once flew over Africa, and she said for hours, you just flew over the sand. It just went on forever. So every grain of sand in my little car, down the coastline, across the country, across the world, across that Sahara Desert, God knows each one. He created each one, and He literally knows each one. Hang with me here. He not only knows that grain of sand, He knows it down to the tiniest molecule, to the tiniest atom of that sand, all over the world. Okay? And not just the grain of sand, and the grains of sand all over the world. All the grains of sand that exist right now in the world, that have ever existed and ever will exist. God knows them all intimately. Then I look at the blades of grass and I can think the same thing. Every blade of grass outside, okay, wait, all over the world that's ever existed before and that ever will exist, down to the tiniest molecule, He not only knows it, He created it. Okay, then you look up at the stars in the sky. It says here in Psalm 147, verse 4, He counts the number of the stars. He gives names to all of them. He not only knows each star by name because He created them, He has ordered them. He knows them all. I mean, have you ever looked up in a night sky to just be amazed at how many stars there are? And that's just in where you're standing. We're talking about the entire universe. And okay, so the stars, the grass, the grains of sand. I'm looking out my window right now. There must be an infinite amount of snowflakes just in front of me in the 30 inches of snow that is covering the ground. And that's right here. And He created each one. And He didn't forget about the sand, and He didn't forget about the stars, and He didn't forget about the grass. He still knows it all. And then the people of this world, every single one, me, you, that's ever existed since the beginning of time, that exists now and ever will exist, He not only knows us intimately and knows our soul, our body, which is made up of a bajillion, trillion, quadrillion, whatever it is, cells, down to the tiniest molecule of each person that ever existed and ever will exist and exists now. And the snow I'm looking at, and the sand. Okay, is your mind blown yet? when I start to think of things like that, I'm like, Karen, who are you on earth to ever worry about tomorrow? Who are you on earth ever to worry about the next moment? And not only does it give me a piece about who I am trusting, this great God who knows, like we literally can't wrap our brain around how much he knows. And I just gave you a small glimpse. Because every single thing on this earth, down to the smallest molecule, he knows. Like, we can't wrap our brain around that. But what a comfort. I'm worrying about little old tomorrow when he's got all those things that he knows intimately. And then the even greater thing. Not only is there a comfort in that he knows every single thing, there's a sense of worship that I just want to fall down and worship him and say, you are the creator. You are the one who set the stars in the sky, who created every molecule of water and sand and snow and grass and people. What a God we get to worship. And I get to know you personally through your word, through Jesus. I get to have a relationship with you. Your whole life will change perspective if you could think of it daily in that way. If you could remember that God isn't just this genie in the bottle sitting in the sky that we talk to feel better or when we want something, that this is an enormous God that is far beyond any earthly vision that we could ever have. We could never, ever, ever imagine. And he gives us his book to speak to us and to communicate with us. He gives us his world to enjoy. He gives us this life. Not only do we stand in awe of who he is and how great and big he is, but we should fall down every day and worship him. And so when you start to get caught up in your day today and you start to, think about, well, what about this and what about that? Remember every grain of sand, every piece of grass, every snowflake, every star in the sky, every human being, and then ask yourself, do I really have anything to be concerned about? This God who controls all these things certainly knows what is best for you, and he certainly has it under control. And so I hope that brings you a little bit of encouragement today that we serve a great and mighty God, far bigger than anything you could ever imagine. Think about that and meditate on that today. And I think it'll help you change your perspective. I hope this encouraged you. If it did, I'd love for you to share it with a friend. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Come over to our Simply Living for Him community where I post these devotions every single day as well. And you can also find them on the website at simplylivingforhim.com. For the month of February at Simply Living for Him, we are doing a Love Thy Neighbor challenge where you can download a free calendar that gives you ideas every single day how you can love your neighbor, love people in your community, love on those in your life in very, very simple ways to share the love of Jesus, to share the love of our great, great God with our world. So I hope this encouraged you, and I will see you next time. Until then, I wish you blessings and joy in Jesus today.